as we continue this week, the International Week of the Deaf, looking at ways of including our members of our community who are deaf or hard of hearing. Today, we get to understand a little bit more about sign language because today we mark International Day of Sign Languages. The theme, No Sign Language Rights, No Human Rights. And we're happy again to have with us as guests this morning, interpreting for those who are deaf or hard of hearing, Paula Medford, who you see here on TV8, of course. Lionel Smith is back. He is the president of the Barbados Horizon Deaf Charity. And with him, across from me, is his public relations officer, Dario Nightengale. To all of you, good morning. No, let's do this. Show me on TV, show me on TV, show me on TV. Roll. Good morning. Yeah.
Good morning.
I got it right indeed. And so let's talk a little bit, because yesterday, Lionel, we were talking about your organization, and maybe I got a few things wrong. I want you to tell me a little bit more about Barbados Horizon Deaf Charity and with whom you are affiliated.
So I'll explain it a little clearer. The BHDC, we have the word charity in our name, but it's actually an association. So that was really to have it more business oriented. So this is really an association for the deaf. We didn't have that for the deaf previously. So that name was available, established as a business.
What is it that the association does for deaf people?
Well, we have above us, we are under the umbrella of the BDC, Barbados Council for the Disabled. And there are various organizations under that umbrella. Any needs, they provide that, arranging conferences, discourses.
And to give the help. But there's some things about the organization, Dario, this is where I'm coming to you now, about the organization as it relates to how we interact with people who are deaf or, and I believe that we call them mute. We call them all sorts of different terms. What would be the correct way that we refer to people who are deaf?
Thank you for that question. I'd like to provide a little clarity. It's important to consider the feelings of the deaf and to use the correct words. So when we speak about deaf with the big D, or hard of hearing, there's also deaf with a small d. These are important. We don't want to say deaf and dumb. That gives the impression that the individual cannot speak. Or we say hearing impaired. That gives the impression that their hearing needs to be fixed. That individual may be fully deaf, or also the use of the word mute. It gives the impression that the individual cannot speak. They simply cannot voice the way hearing individuals do. So when we speak of deaf with the big D, so the way that a deaf individual would speak or vocalize, it simply sounds different to the way hearing people speak, but there's nothing wrong with our vocal cords.
Because I know Dario would have interned here at the CBC, and every once in a while I'd run into him and I'd try to learn some more sign language, try to have that open bridge of communication with Dario. And that's the whole point. You remember. And so that's important, I think, when it comes to how we relate to people in the deaf community, that people who are deaf or hard of hearing are just like us. And so do not be afraid or stigmatize them into thinking that they are so scary that we ought not to engage with, because they do wonderful things like anybody else. And so let's talk a little bit now about what for you today means, Lionel, with the theme, no sign language, no human rights.
So for the World Federation of the Deaf, this is the first year that we are partnering, that BHDC is partnering with the World Federation of the Deaf. And under this theme, it's a very important theme because this is our language. This is the way that we communicate with our hands. And if there is no interpreter, how would we be able to interact with you? She has the voice for us. The interpreter has the voice for us. And that is so important. Communication is so important for anything that we're going to be doing.
And so it's important that because if we knew the language, we wouldn't have to have someone voice for you. We can hear you through that language that you share. And so you think it's important that schools and families learn the language.
Yes. Very important. Because the deaf need to be able to communicate. A number of families don't know sign language, and that can be a challenge for the deaf. But if they know how to sign, imagine if you knew sign, like you signed, you welcome us this morning, good morning, there would be no need for an interpreter. You wouldn't need the interpreter. We'd be able to converse on our own. Imagine that. Imagine if the tables were turned. You would come to understand how the deaf feel.
I've just been chastised. I love it, indeed. And so from your perspective, Dario, let's talk about opportunities for individuals and groups and families to learn sign language. What's available that we can actually practice the language?
So hearing parents with deaf children, they need to be courageous and try to learn from their child the signs of things the deaf can't hear. But we communicate with our hands visually. It's important that parents learn how to sign also. The teachers need to have good qualifications and not speak to the children, but they need to communicate with them, making eye contact, helping them not to have to struggle to understand what is not their language. It's important to help them to understand and appreciate their deaf identity and understand the importance of communicating via sign. Because God has given us our hands, and this language is so beautiful. There are 300 different sign languages around the world. It's really beautiful. It's important that schools, business places, all encourage the use of sign language. You can begin with something basic, but that will help the deaf to feel comfortable and lessen the struggle that we deal with and the frustrations that we encounter.
So agree with you. So that I dispel my ignorance, teach me, I'll start with the alphabet. If you can teach me the alphabet. So I want to try it, and I hope you'll be patient with me.
That's fine. I will teach you something simple. I'll teach you Barbados.
Okay. Fingers together like this. This is Barbados. Okay. Good. So, so spell it for me now. B A R B A D O S. B A R B B A D D O S S. Barbados.
Very good.
Yes, I can do it. I can do it. So it's good morning, B A R B A D D O S.
Very good, Pearson.
At least I've got that right. And that, I think, opens up the door for all of us to learn, not just how to spell the words alone, but to have that conversation. And as you could see from Dario and from Lionel as well, they're excited because suddenly I'm connecting with them in a very real way, in the way they speak. And so it's important for all of us as individuals, as organizations, to open up our hearts and ready our minds to be able to learn the language so we have meaningful connection, not through a third party, but one-on-one with people who are deaf or hard of hearing. Remember, they're not deaf mute or dumb. They're just deaf or hard of hearing. And that's an okay term to use within this context indeed. So today, as much as you can, register for a course in sign language. Begin the process of having that open communication with people who are deaf or hard of hearing. They want to hear you, you want to hear them. And so together as a community, we are building a more compassionate space within which all of us can coexist in a very meaningful way. I want to thank both of you today, and you, Paula, as well, for joining me. That's Colin Smith, who is the president of the Barbados Horizon Deaf Charity, and Dario Nightengale, their public relations officer, and Paula Medford, our interpreter this morning. All the best and much success to you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Gotcha. All right.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning.